What a brilliant way to start the day. Looks like there's a bit of cloud overhead. We might get some rain. It's the one day that I brought all my dry gear, but I've put it in a little miniature cave. Should keep it dry. Yeah. I'm getting so used to this now. It's pretty funny. There was a fella who come up to me last night doing the same thing just by himself. But he's got like a rack of guitars as well and just playing music every night. He's 54, he said. And it was one of those conversations where you feel like you're kind of talking to a potential future self. And he's just going like, how good is this? This is all you need. And I was having those realizations like, I don't want to still be doing this when I'm 54. Not like that. Not that rough. So, yeah. Might have to start thinking about how not to be an anti-capitalist and how to play the game a little bit more. But I have too. I actually woke up this morning after that conversation because it brought that stuff up in me. I was like, because I was already talking about this in my earlier journals, like I'm not sure if I want to be who I thought I wanted to be. Like now I've pushed it to the limit and I've experienced what it's like to live like this. I don't know, maybe I would like some comfort and some nice things and like a routine and a normal life. Like I think I'm there. I think I'm on my way there. It won't be normal, but it'll be my version of normal. And I guess that's what I always wanted. I wanted to figure out like how to live in a way that still felt good. I could still do a lot of this and find the balance. Like how much nature and real world do I need to work in the system world of like society. And I think I've gone past that balance line now. I've gone too far into nature for myself. Some people could probably go further easily, but yeah, so as I'm having all these realizations, I'm waking up with new ideas as well. And this morning I just had this massive realization, and the ideas are awesome, these kinds of ideas at this part of the journey, because it's like, it's not like an idea where it's the beginning of this whole big massive thing, because I've started creating, like I've been creating for years, like making all these cool things and just having faith that it's going to lead somewhere. So the ideas that I have these days are like, so those bunch of things that you've already done, those bunch of things that you've already created, they could be like this, and it would be like, there's actually not a lot of work involved to shape them that way. Like, for example, like all of the things that I've done, I'm working with a few mental health organizations, like services, really unofficially, and just doing training with them and stuff like that. And I had this realization that there's no reason why, like, I couldn't pitch them ideas. Like, I don't have to just participate in their stuff. Everybody else in the community is pitching them stuff and making stuff happen. And I've actually been involved in the community long enough now that it wouldn't be weird for me to put my hand up and say, oh, I want to do this. Can I get some support? Does anyone want to jump in? And I'm pretty positive that it would happen. Like, so yeah, that's sort of starting to emerge, and that makes it more like that. I couldn't have imagined that until this morning. Like I was like, oh, doing all this stuff that I don't want to do, doing all other people's ideas, and that's why like I gravitate to things like YouTube and doing my own thing heaps, like, because I want to do things my way. I want to figure out a way for myself, because one thing that I see in the world, especially with mental health, is that a lot of the stuff isn't working, but like we're still using it, or we're trying to build on it, or we're trying to like make it better, but it's just failing. So for me, my journey's been like, let's not look at any of the stuff that doesn't work, and let's just start from scratch and build a whole new model of mental health, of being. And even like along the journey, I've realized like even the phrase mental health is just got connotations of failure. Like it's just when you talk about mental health, it's bad. Like it's negative. Something's wrong. And that, like, so I don't even like using the words mental health. Like I just like using my own language and encouraging the people that I work with to use their own language and describe their experiences. Not just like tell me that they have a label like depression or anxiety. Like talk about like what's actually going on, what's it like. And a lot of the time we'll find out it's very unique to the individual and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, there's like this whole new thing emerging now where I'm realizing that I've been on that journey and I've created a lot of stuff and I've got a lot of new understanding that maybe people haven't really pursued that much because they've been trying to work within the system and trying to work within the guidelines and the trainings and like the labels and all that sort of stuff. And I've just gone over in my own little world and sort of looked at people and just talked to people. Like the early discussions on my main YouTube channel. Maybe the early ones I still had a flavor of like mainstream mental health influence because I was completely fresh to it. But as those discussions go on, they're less and less about like labels and diagnosis or any like or psychology or psychiatry or anything like that. It's all, so what have you actually been doing in your life? Like what changed for you? What's real for you? Like what's actually working? And I don't think many people have really said just following go to your GP and get a prescription. I don't think anyone's really said that's been super beneficial. I can remember one interview I did ages ago where somebody had like anxiety that was so bad that they couldn't function, and when they had medication they could do stuff. And I think in those cases it's like, of course, you take the fucking medication, do things that way, but it's still like you want to be figuring out why do you have that anxiety, what is it, and like working through that with the assistance of a medication, I guess. But yeah, so, and also my way doesn't have to be the way as well. Like I think that's another issue with mainstream, like there's trying to develop these pathways and these networks that you can pretty much put anyone in and it'll get them where they need to go. But I think individually we have to figure it out for ourselves, and as communities we have to figure it out for ourselves, because I've noticed like mental health on the Gold Coast is very different to mental health in Murwillumbah. Mental health in Murwillumbah is very different from mental health in Melbourne. And it is like being a part of nature is a part of that, because this is what's I don't know, recharging us. Like if you're stuck in a city all the time, the city's going to influence the way that you view reality, and it's going to influence your model of like how the world is. Like you're going to believe different things to somebody who lives in a rural community or lives out in a place like this. If you lived in a place like this, your ideas about what's important in life would be very different to somebody who lived in Brisbane CBD and had a 9-to-5 job in one of them skyscrapers, and you're just crunching numbers all day, or you're just doing data entry even, or something like that, just typing numbers into a screen. Like your reality is so different, and your mental health's going to be different too, you know. So yeah, like my way doesn't have to be the way. It just has to work for people like me, people who are looking for something more, and like that's what's like it. I think that's like the key to it. The last journal that I did, like there's this pain. It's like there's something more to life, but you don't know what it is, and you've got to go on this journey. That's like a big driver of all of my confusion in life, like, because I just couldn't. And for ages I thought everybody had it. I thought everybody was like, just sort of like had this pain inside of them, like, oh, there's got to be more to life. There's something inside of all of us that needs to be expressed. And maybe everybody does. I'm not saying that they do or they don't. I'm just saying, like, I used to take for granted, like 100% everybody was feeling this pain and they were just squashing it. And they were just like trying to ignore it, trying to run away from it. But then like, it was probably like 5 years ago or so, like when I stopped putting everything inside of me onto everybody outside of me and telling them like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just at this shitty 9-to-5 job? Why don't you do something different? I stopped doing that to everybody, and I started really seeing them and observing them. I started to see that people were happy, and not everybody needs to go on a quest. Like the majority of people around me that I was putting all that stuff on, and I was looking at them going, there's no way you can be happy. And they were telling me I'm happy. They were happy. Like, they were happy enough. They were content in themselves where they were at. And that's really cool. That was like one of the best things, because then I was like, okay, so it's just me. And it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, okay, it's just me. That's good. Oh shit, it's just me. Like, I'm the one that's got this thing inside of me that is just screaming out that it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be acknowledged. So yeah, once I got that, that's when the journey started. That's when I started doing all the things. Like that's when you would have started seeing all the kind of content that you know today, because I was doing all different stuff before that. Made music videos, filmed live events, filmed tattoo stuff, filmed pranks actually. Back when pranks were big on YouTube, I was one of the cameramen for a bunch of the pranksters. And I did like jackass stuff back in the day, like wannabe jackass, like just stunts, lighting ourselves on fire, shooting each other with nail guns, doing stupid things in cars. Like, so I always wanted to make something with cameras, and then I was like, why am I doing all this other stuff with cameras when I could actually do something meaningful that helps people in a really big way? And I gravitated more and more towards that over the years. Like, I guess music, when I started doing music stuff, that was a bit better. And then I did some stuff for different charities, like did like really cheap work, like not charging heaps for some charities to get them off the ground. And yeah, I've done all kinds of things, and then got to this point. But yeah, it all started when I looked at it. I stopped thinking everybody else was like me, and I was like, oh shit, like take responsibility for your reality and stop. Yeah, like, 'cause it's really easy to get in this place that the world's all fucked up, and the world's so unfair, and everything's set up against me, everything's set up against you, you know, like, and it's just too hard. But it's not really true. It's just that you've been accepting it and you've been agreeing to it, and you know it's going to be hard when you try and break that and you start to go against the grain. Like, you know it's going to be hard when you go, look, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to change everything. There's going to be resistance from all directions, and it's going to suck. And that's why you have just been accepting it, because you don't want to go through it. But I can't even say whether it's worth it or not worth it, because I think back to those people that I used to think weren't happy, and when I realized that they were actually genuinely happy and content, I just kind of envied them after that. Like, especially now looking back, like, I wish I could have just been happy where I was at and not have this whole thing where I need to go on and like do all this stuff. But at the same time, I would never change a thing, because look where I am. Like, it's the journey is cool, but it's not what everybody makes it out to be. It's not like this, you know, there's still pain, it still hurts, it's still hard. You're still not happy all the time, no matter what you do. Like, you're still going to have challenges. You're still going to have things come up inside of you that are going to be tough. Like, you can't just run away to the wilderness and expect all your problems to disappear. Like, you're still going to have to play the game, no matter how far you run.